So, hey everyone. I wanted to try something out, and I don't know if it's going to do anything or if it can help anything, or if it's possible that this might be the way to go nowadays. So, I'm a brand new creator, or pretty much brand new, and I want to actually explore um, YouTube Studios AI. Um, can't remember what its name is. Ask Studio, whatever it is. Now, let's go through this just because, you know, well, here, I can show you analytics. Crappy channel, started it last month. Uh, one subscriber, 30 views, nothing really special. And so we're gonna try something out, and we're gonna see how the algorithm or YouTube reacts to it. Um, so it has this inspiration tab here, right? And it kind of bases it off of what kind of content you've actually created in the last, you know, I don't know. Well, actually, I don't know how long. Maybe it's the duration, maybe the whole duration of the existence of the channel, or maybe it's just for the past whatever months or whatever. So, if we look at my analytics today, my contents, um, this is kind of what it looks like and whatever. And right here is what I've posted so far, what I've published. And I got, my first one, my second one. Well, I kind of started with just talking about my standard life and whatever. And then I did kind of a reaction to some videos that I believe in, like, so higher levels of thinking, which is kind of, it can be applied to business and so on. And so, for the most part, what I've done is content about work life. So what it does, it kind of pulls that information, and here's what it thinks I want to do, or what my niche is. So the AI is actually deciding my niche, um, just by what I've put on here so far. And so it thinks I want to talk about business and certain aspects of business, specifically just being worker. I've stated that I'm a middle manager and some stuff. And this one caught my eye. It really did. So we're gonna make a video about it. And here's what it looks like. The references, though, right here, the pictures or the videos that it recommends to go with. Hardcore is not. Um, really isn't applicable until you open up this more related, and then you get some Jordan Peterson, when should you leave your job? Are this stuff is good right here, but that's not. That's not. That's definitely not. No. So, and those two first suggestions definitely not. So that needs to be probably worked on a little bit. But um, if we then continue on and develop the idea, here's kind of what you're looking at. Your outline and your hooks and so on. Now, I do want to make the video about what this is suggested to be made about. Um, so let's kind of get into it. The invisible ceiling, it does exist, and um, the thing about it is that um, so the invisible ceiling actually it does have a paradoxical thing. It does. It really does. So this stuff's kind of here's some more like how you want to hook it or whatever. and I have my child in the background being my child, but we're gonna try to do this. So the invisible ceiling. Now there's a few portions to this, and um, to be able to talk about it, it there's a bunch of, and then it suggests a lot of stuff here. What you want to script and whatever. But let's get back out. I mean, this video's about this and not about this all at the same time. I want to explain this, and so let's go into this. So, why being good at your job stops you from getting promotion? I mean, there's a lot of reasons. So here's the thing. So your efficiency at a job, right? Um, if it's too high, the upper people in a company will want to keep you there because you are, I mean, if you're super efficient at a job, you're producing more money than anybody else. You just are. And it's not going in your pocket necessarily. It's going in the company's pocket. So if you get really good at a job, they're not going to want to move you. Now, there's going to be circumstances when they do, like for instance if there's a surprise position opening, if somebody ends up having a medical problem or something like that, and they need someone to fill that role quickly and efficiently, then you might actually get moved up. But what's the chances of someone having a medical problem or some kind of surprise? It's not like somebody's putting in their 2 weeks or a month sometimes, because if you're talking about higher positions, like really high up in the company, um, you there's a good chance that they usually announce that they're going to leave at some point. Like I mean, higher positions, they just, it's like, yeah, I'm going to be retiring in 6 months or something like that. It's not a quick decision because most of the time those higher positions, you know, those people are in those higher positions because they wanted that position and they wanted to be there, and it was a good paying job and whatever. I'm actually talking from like a middle management position again because that's kind of my forte. Um, but so if we're talking about very low position to a standard management position, then to like more of a middle management position, like those jobs kind of just move around how they go. And then once you get into the higher stuff where you were hired for a specific job, um, like granted, those are usually most times six figures or above. If you got hired for that certain position and then you excel at it and you're really good at it, they're not going to want to move you because you're really good at it. Um, and then there's another part of it. Like, so if you excel at something, if you're really good at something, I don't care who you are. Um, a lot of times you will know that you're good at it, and sometimes you won't tolerate something that'll interfere with you being good at it. So then you'll end up. It's not a good way of putting it, but it's still the best way I can put it, is that you're going to butt heads with someone in an equal position or higher than you, saying, well, that's not going to work. It'll make less efficient work of something else. And so what you end up doing, and this is subconsciously, this isn't this nobody's going to realize you're doing this. Not particularly. Maybe, well, maybe a narcissist will or something. I don't know. Some other psychological thing might make you realize it. Um, but well, okay. So I realize it. So then I guess Maybe I'm a narcissist. I don't know. We'll find out. But so you end up butting heads with your superiors and or people who are in the same level as you. So then that will trickle to your superiors, and it's really just a drawn out web of stuff. So there's not just the fact that you're okay now you're making more money for a company because you're good at it, but then you're also possibly causing friction where they don't want you to move up to a higher position because it might cause more friction. And then, depending on the size of the company, um, there's also the fact of the matter that sometimes when you're so good at a job and the your superiors, they might have been with the company for 10 years, 20 years. Maybe it's family inherited, so then some of the people above you are really actually just, family members of the people who own the company. Um, what actually happens sometimes when you're that proficient, they wonder how, and they're actually kind of scared of moving you up because they don't want you to show them a better way of things, how things should be done. And the word isn't fear, and I'm not looking for the word fear. They are anxious about what you might accomplish because they don't, because the people who own companies, they not too many, I'm gonna catch some heat for this, I swear. But most people who own companies or run companies or are higher, higher level, CO, CEOs, COOs, uh, all those C abbreviations, they usually have a interpretation of themselves of how they are self worth. Like they have. I don't want to use the words, but because I don't think all of them have this, but the superiority complex that a lot of people want to put towards them, or label higher persons. Well, actually, that's what a lot of the really low people have their opinion of people who own companies or are people who make decent amounts of money. And the thing is that there's a reason for that. So they are, so they're anxious about you because they know you can perform well, and if they give you any more power, um, you can you might break free of them. So then they're going to lose that efficiency, and they're going to lose that money making. They're going to lose all that stuff. And so it's not really, like I said, it's not really a superiority complex. It's literally them knowing that if they give you any more resources, that you might decide to go and do your own thing. And so that's really the invisible glass ceiling. Is there's the portion where you're making them really good money because you're efficient at something. And if they let you learn any more or get more resources, you might be able to break free of them. Like you'll be able to learn enough, and you'll learn enough things that end up making you capable of, starting your own thing. And sometimes if you think about it, you might start, since you get so good at that particular industry, there, I mean, it's like double jeopardy for them, or triple jeopardy, or whatever, because okay, give them they give you more resources, you get even better at the job, and you learn even more stuff about the job, and now you can and you got, you move up in the company, you get a pay raise, right? So you get more money coming in too. So it, there's you end up you, it's a huge risk for him. It's a massive risk for him because now you got a guy, gal, person who you just moved up in the company again, who's really efficient. And they were really efficient in this position, and then if they get really efficient in the next position, now they doubled what they've learned about the industry or whatever whatever you're doing. So think about this: the person who's really efficient is dangerous in so many ways to them. So you got good at this, and then you're going to get good at that, and then you learn all this, and you learn all that. And now you have all the resources. Now you have more money. So what's the next step for a person who's really efficient if they keep moving up the company? The next step is going and starting their own business, starting their own thing. And then since you've been in that industry and you learned about that industry and all the stuff that you've learned is in that industry, what's the chances of you starting a business that is actually a competitor against the business that they own? 70%? 75%? That's a huge risk because now you gave them all those resources and now they left and they start a business and it's a competitor to them, and that you're really efficient at it, and since you're a new company you are going to start from scratch, so now you get to write the playbook again. You get to basically write the script again. This company's been around for 50 to 100 years, whatever it is, however long this company's been around, right? So they wrote all these rules and they had all these the ways they do things, and they taught all their employees how they want them to do things. But one of the things they taught them isn't as efficient as what you learned is efficient. So now you end up with a new company that is now a competitor to your company, that now was able to rewrite the book on what's efficient. Because, when this company got started 50 years ago, the internet didn't exist. The, mass communication didn't exist. Social media didn't exist. And now you got a new guy, a new company that knows all the new stuff, that can write the rules for those new things like the internet and social media and how they develop it. An old company cannot shift as fast as a new company. So the biggest risk, the reason there's a glass ceiling is because that really efficient, good worker, the higher they go, they are a huge risk to a company. And that's what I think it is. I mean, that's my opinion. Tell me if I'm wrong, if you really want to. But that it's not, the glass ceiling isn't just because they want you in that position to keep making them money. That's one thing. The other reason is because we as humans are scared of someone who's actually really proficient, because they could risk everything. And that's why established companies, don't want to give you that increase, that higher position, Because if you learn enough and you learn too much, you in the end could actually be dangerous. And that's my thoughts. So have a good one.